Hi everybody, here we are, 2022 is soon upon us, and it is time for some energy prognostics with Umblam and the rest of the Arcturian Council. But before I bring in them and give you a reading on the year to come, I just wanted to thank everybody for this year, 2021. It's been crazy and hectic, and if you've kept up with my journey, I've been around the planet and certainly also around the ethers, and had a lot of internal and external struggles, but also marvelous experiences and wondrous and exotic sights and strange and weird encounters, and it's been incredibly if not if not constructive, then at least instructive. But it's been very rewarding, and I guess it's been also very much one of those years where if you take the perspective of the higher self, then you're definitely growing and shedding and expanding. But of course, if you take sort of the perspective of your own comfortable and self, it's also kind of rough to experience so much tumult, and I've also been quite physically ill this year, or sick after the vaccines, and I had my wisdom teeth removed, and it seems like there was just so much stuff cropping up to deal with for me personally. And I kind of feel also, because I have the privilege of communicating with a lot of you and working in sessions, that it's been going around this energy that we all have done a lot of shedding and breaking down in these past years, and that was shedding with an SHED, but it's seems to be arriving at a place, especially after this portal energy that of the solstice, where there are new vistas opening. And so, if many of you remember who've kept up with this stuff in 2020, where they were talking a lot about the timeline shifts and this huge shift, and that seems to have occurred. So we are to some degree locked into our trajectories, but at the same time, we are also all of a sudden in a space where there's a lot of room for new and conscious creation, and that goes for the ethers and the general energies, which are far more conducive to magic. Let's call it that, like the interaction between the internal and external, or the mind and the world, and we are also, of course, in energies politically and socially, where things are in a general uproar and upheaval. So it's very interesting what times will bring, and I at least am feeling very optimistic about 2022, and of course, thank you for all of you who've joined up on Patreon, and I look very much forward to exploring and getting to know that medium, and I'm already enjoying being able to do more of these deep dives over there. And I also look forward to exploring new sides of the channeling practice on YouTube, and I can just feel like there are, as I get more settled, and I'm back in Denmark, and it's winter, so there's plenty of time to stay inside and geek out over things. I can also tell like that there are a lot of new and interesting creative stuff that I would love to do with the practice. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, and thank you so much for being there. And then of course more live streams to come in January, and that will be fun as well. But before I rant on, I will, without further ado, bring in Umblam and the Arcturian Council. And thank you so much for 2021, guys, and the loveliest of New Year's to you. Yes, hello, good people of Earth. This is your friend Umblam of the Arcturian Council coming to you, along with the Arcturian Council, transmitting wisdom from the high ethers and heavenly spheres into your realm and understanding on this day approaching the new years of your time, 2022. It's a marvelous number, isn't it? It's lovely when these numerologies fit. That is, you would have to go back all the way to the year 111 to move into a similar numerology. But see, what does this year 2 contain? It contains a deepening, a partnership. So, where you might also feel inclined to add up the numbers, arriving with 2 plus 2 plus 2 or 3 times 2 at the number 6, this harmonic number, a number that is so harmonic that you may even stumble over it. That is, a lot of you may seem that you are, or have the experience in your lives that you are stumbling into the year of 2022. But what is awaiting you in this year is also the opportunity to restructure your lives. As our friend here was commenting on, he had noticed the experience in many people's lives that after these timeline shifts had occurred and the general breakdown of your expectations to what you could expect from the future and what would arise out of human affairs. Well, what happened then was also that many of you became somewhat disillusioned. And this disillusionment, it was already there, it was already present in your lives before 2020 as a feeling of, is this really all there is, or I feel trapped, or a slight sense of dissatisfaction pronounced in some, though often present in many others, though less pronounced or less conscious to them. But it was exactly this splinter in your mind that then drove you to seek for and ask for something more, indeed to be called to something more. That more has sought you out, and that more is now ready to be instrumentalized, manifest, made flesh, incarnate, expressed, created, however you may want to see it, given birth to. This influx of spirit, it is coming through you to be connected to the world. We are addressing all of you who have experienced these shifts in your being, that is, breakdowns upon breakdowns, attempts to adjust and then feeling slightly maladjusted, feeling like this was not the exact fit, this was not the situation you truly sought out. There might be a learning experience in this, but truly this was not what you would have tailor-made for yourself. It doesn't even seem like this was something that your higher self would put forward of its own volition. This has in many ways been the experience of 2021 for many of you. Forced circumstances from the outside forcing you to shed bonds, to adjust your expectations, to retract, to move into yourself, to really from this rubble we have mentioned, these ruins you have found yourself in, to really figure out how you wanted the new edifice of you to look, how you would build your life once you had the blocks. And well, this is the number of the self and the number of the house, the number of 6, this adding up, these pairings of the twos into a harmonic structure a weight or load-bearing structure, something that's able to carry that weight that is put upon it. And that is the building of you that you are making. It is through this harmony. See, but you had to, much like a sculptor who breaks away fragments of a stone to uncover what was already hidden there. He was just the one to be able to extract that vision from the rock. So it is with you that you are the one observing this rock, this raw piece of you. You have had the opportunity to remove certain pieces or seen them removed. See, the paradox, of course, in this is that you are both the one who removes from the rock, and you are the sculptor, the rock and the sculptor. These are the interactions between the higher self and the self that you find yourself in. And this is what is coming forward. It is the statue of you that is hiding within that rock. And so, we sense it taking shape within you. We sense this shape moving forward into your consciousness as we conjure up this image. How do you appear? What is the sculpted ideal of you that is appearing from all this rubble, these bits and pieces, pebbles that have been broken away from a giant, unsculpted and raw stone to bring forward the miracle, the shaped wonder of you, the encounter of nature with art. That is your true being, and this is how you express yourself in the world. You sometimes forget it, but you are creators. And so, what can you expect from this year to come as creators? You can expect the coming months, seeing as you may like some clearer forecasts. You can expect the coming months, the month of January for instance, to allow for this portal energy. So how you may sense January of this month is, let us use that almost modern myth or folk tale of the lion and the witch and the wardrobe, but I believe it is Edmund who stumbles into the wardrobe, and then there is sort of the period where you get a little lost in the wardrobe before you enter Narnia, but you have already lost the drab and dreary life of wartime England behind as you have gone playing there in the closet. And there behind this wilderness of old coats and stuffy smells, there is actually a whole wide expanse of a fantasy world opening. Well, many of you may sense that we have been talking a lot about these jumps into these more manifest realities, or realities that are conducive to the manifestation of intent within it, to the expression of your higher self within the material energies. But this in many ways relates to fantasy configurations. This is why you have also been drawn to these universes as a species, and that you have tried to make more and more of the fantastic vivid and tangible. It is because you are gradually moving into spaces where you see that this phenomenon you call the law of attraction is rather the law of correspondence, that there is an infinite potential of creation being negotiated with you at the cusp of new discoveries, at the very edge of what the universe is capable of, trying to make sense of it all as you pass by these new experiences. You are, in that sense, giving birth to something that is wholly new and wholly wonderful. Can you take stock of this? Can you see how this has happened? Perhaps with less, with more volatility and less volition in your life so far. That there have still been new occurrences, new changes, pushes in certain directions, but they have seemed more fiery, more catastrophic, more dramatic, while they have seemed less out of your control and less wanted. And these knobs are being turned now. There is a shift, a balance where you begin to master your own domains. And this does not mean to shoot all trespassers. It rather means that you stop feeling like a host in or a guest in somebody else's world. This is the great illusion of society. This is that somebody else has already built this world and you are just visiting, and you have to, of course, comply with the rules. But indeed, you are both the host and the guest in this. You are a part of society and you are hosting yourself. And so how do you want this collective, this social expression of you, to host humanity as a whole? That is in many ways a political statement, but it is only political in the sense that we are reminding you that you are also social creatures, and as social creatures comes also a certain willingness to participate honestly, authentically, with your own preferred vision of how the world should be, with the pragmatic willingness to communicate with others and understand to some degree the different positions that people can hold and why they may have arrived at that position, seeing as, well, circumstances are often everything. And so you may have thought that ascension was all about starships coming down and lifting you off the planet, us visiting and spicing things up, and that may come, but it is, well, actually you discovering greater and greater wonder within your own experience, and thereby the ability to change your circumstances. And by changing these circumstances, you become more and more divine. This is the image we would use, because what is the divine but something that has been able to wield the reins of its own fate and to drive creation where they wanted it to be driven. This is what we promise you. And so when you arrive at Narnia, moving into February and March, you may see that it's a little cold, and you may feel that, well, the way that the world is tempting you is by luring it into its sleigh and offering you Turkish delight. That is, there may be these energies of a lore where you may sense an undercurrent or deceit and subterfuge confronting you in February and March. Well, this will give way to a more self-assured you in the months of April. You will find yourself in April having this willingness to grow and to cultivate. It is truly a time of spring, but what you are cultivating is new seeds, new complex ways of relating to the world. And, well, what are these complex ways of relating to the world? We are simply describing energetic matrices here. You are the ones who put content into this, and seeing as quite a few people are tuning in to interact with this message, we can assure you that the energy of April is more like this sprouting pot where you put your seeds into, and there you let them then surprise you after 3 days with what they may come forward. This will also be a good time for you to begin to plan certain excursions, or maybe if you feel unsettled in your career, this is the time to make a new choice and go in a new direction. It will also be the time where if you feel unsettled where you live, it will be good for you to entertain the possibility of moving. But the energies of moving will be far better for you approaching July and August. These months we sense a great confluence of stirring energy in your collective. And so we sense that it would be prudent of you to take advantage of these collective energies, these almost catastrophic energies that are coming forward, to choose whether or not you want to distance yourself a little from human affairs and use this time to strengthen yourself. That is, we are sensing in the beginning of August. Or you may want to dive deep into this engagement, into current events and upheavals, cataclysms, these things. These are choices you have. May, June, July. These months will be for you a good time to go welding is the image that we are getting, and what we mean by this is that you put together different parts of your being. You may have sensed that, well, you feel a little fragile, and this is the time to weld on add-ons, that is, make your plate armor in a way where it shields you, but you can still be nimble in the way you move around. You must understand that the energies are becoming so volatile at this point that, well, giving you too far predictions may lock you into a sense of helplessness that we are not interested in. But we will say that towards the end of the year 2022, that is moving in from October and forward, strange happenstances, things that you have yet to see occur on this planet, will begin to appear. Things will be revealed by methods of inquiry and discovery related to your lines of science and archaeology in particular, that will begin to reveal certain sides of reality that you have denied. You will also, or that, well, many human beings have refused to see. There will also be new aspects, new discoveries about the qualities of light and its interactions with water turning up in November next year, and you may look forward to the potentials that these insights will have for technology and development. These are some insights that we would like to share. We would also just like to transmit the love to you. We know that these cycles are often chances for you to take stock, notice of what has passed before in time, and to anticipate and plan, maybe even do a little spell casting for the coming year. And so a spell we will cast for you, we will cast it together. You can repeat this, insert your own name, but we will use this, we, us, the Arcturians, as the summoners in this case. And so we summon the light of infinite source to appear in the fine cracks of reality, and from these cracks light up this space with beautiful creative energy, filling up our being and all beings with the love and wonder of pure and eternal light. We invoke the love of the human heart, the openness, the empathy, the spaciousness, the gratitude, and the marvelous expanses of emotion that hide within this deep confluence, this cataract of spirit and matter, where things twirl and intertwine, always blending together in the alchemical chamber of understanding, of inhale and exhale, of life force and space. We invoke the current of time to fill with light and meaning. May time become present. May it see itself for the harmony it contains. And may all beings living in time be fulfilled by this harmony and be, as they swim through this eternal current, protected, held, guarded, seen and loved.